This is the largest medium wave transmitting station in Sri Lanka, located about 6 kilometers away from Homagaba Junction along the Horana-Kottawa road. Land extent is about 180 acres. This station was fully planned, installed and commissioned by late Mr. D. Buell. Far away is the transmitter hall and the powerhouse. You can see the feeder routes, transmitting towers, 5 of them, handling 5 high power transmitters. This is the Sinhala service radiating tower. You can see the antenna tuning huts which houses the matching units. These matching units all matched with bridge measurements by Mr. D. Buell personally. He devoted a lot of time in doing this personally. Measurements was his favorite subject, and he took a lot of valuable equipment into the field, and with a team of selected officers handled the measurements over the weekend at times. This is the insulator taking the full weight of the antenna, and he was one occasion removed one of the fault insulators and replaced in a daring exercise. These are the feeder routes emerging from the transmitter hall. Civil construction work of the building was also supervised by him. This is the entrance to the building. This is the transmitter hall, which houses 6 transmitters, 3 20 kilowatts and three 25 kilowatts. This is the transmitter which carried Sandhya Seva in 1963. These transmitters were having some problems in the early days, where Mr. Buell and the other engineers and the technicians had to find the answers, solutions fast enough to commission the transmitting station. With his devotion, that was possible with very short time interval, within a very short time interval. And there was no foreigners involved in the installation of this equipment. He got down plans, all the equipment installed, commissioned all by local staff. His personal supervision and guidance. There was a need of combining two 25 kilowatt transmitters, what you see now. He took up the challenge to fabricate a combining unit locally. Otherwise, SLBC would have to spend millions. But he took the challenge and the combined unit was put into operation sooner than we expected. Local staff helped Mr. Buell in whatever possible manner. This is the antenna changeover switch of the main coupling unit, combined unit for 25 kilowatt transmitters. This is the combining unit. This is the power switchboard from AEG Germany. On-load tap changing power transformer, first of its kind. Powerhouse. Standby power plants. Old power generator from RAF 500 kilowatts, still working. Installed by all broadcasting corporation staff. MAN generator. All this power equipment too was supervised by Mr. Buell. Power changeover switch. View of the transmitter hall again. This is the test equipment used by Mr. Buell. This equipment was very new, up to date in 1960s. We will now get a comment from the engineer in charge of the station, present engineer in charge, Mr. Meril Boteju, for his comments about Mr. Buell. his transmitting station.
The pioneer of this medium wave station is late Mr. David Buell. He was the director engineering then, and he was the principal officer responsible for the entire installation and until the commissioning of this station. This station comprises of 6 high power transmitters catering to a widespread listenership.
මම 1960 දෙවනි මාසයේ 20 වෙනිදා ගුවන්විදුලි දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේ අපේ ඉංජිනේරු ඩේවිඩ් බුවෙල් මහත්මයා ගාව රාජකාරිය පළවෙනි කළා. ඉදින පටන් අපි බුවෙල් මහත්මයා අපිට ඉගෙනීමේ කටයුතු වලට විශේෂයෙන් උදව් කෙරුවා. ඉගෙනගත්තු මිනිහට උගක් සැලකුවා. ඉගෙන ගන්නත් අපිට අපේ සෑම නිලධාරි මහත්මයෙකුටත් අපි කම්කරු මහත්මයාටත් උදව් කෙරුවා. එදින පටන් මම මේ ඉගෙනීමෙන් මම අද ට්‍රිගර් කෙනෙක් වශයෙන් මේ ගුවන්විදුලි සංස්ථාවේ සේවය කරනවා. එච්චරයි මට කියන්න තියෙන්නේ.
Mr. Bharati, can you isolate any remarkable incidents that took place during the period of Mr. Buell's service with you?
Yes. During a construction period, we found that one of the insulators of the mast was low, and we were discussing as to what we should do. And Mr. Buell said we have to replace that insulator. He got everything ready, 3 jacks, a theodolite, and he put up a flag at the top to monitor the wind. Well, the mast was brought off the insulator and the insulator was replaced. I feel it was an achievement because Mr. Buell, after that, he told us that in Africa, the same operation was a failure. The mast came down, killing a number of people. Well, this only showed Mr. Buell's confidence in himself and in his staff that we were able to do that.
Thank you. Mr. Abel, can you highlight any remarkable events that you could recall of Mr. Buell, the time that you were in charge of, that you all were handling the medical transmitting station operations?
In early 1950s, I was working in one and only medium wave transmitting station in Sri Lanka, which is located just behind prisons, Valikadu prisons. Mr. Buell was in charge of it. Mr. Buell was very keen to impart his knowledge to his officers, to his junior officers. I can recollect one memorable incident. One night when I was working, he brought some junk transmitters. And he insisted that that I should trace the circuits of those transmitters. And he said that very serious that he need the circuits of those transmitters. So once I have done that and handed over to him, he told me that he only wanted me to be familiarized with the circuits and his intention was for me to be familiarized with the circuits.
Mr. Herat, can you give us a brief account of the major projects that you have done with Mr. Buell in this period?
I had the privilege of working with Mr. Buell on the medium wave expansion project, in which we did the expansion for Jaffna, Ampara and the FM repeater at Mena. I must also not forget to tell you that Mr. Buell did the preliminary planning for the national TV network, which is now called Rupo Aini, which took him to many parts of Sri Lanka. He travelled a lot and ultimately he climbed up Mount Piduru for his final inspections before the Japanese came. And at that time he got a heart attack and he passed away. at a very young age of about 55 years. This indeed was a very great loss, irreparable loss for broadcast engineering of Sri Lanka.
Mr. Kadirvelu, one of the engineers who was involved with Mr. Buell at the construction sites at Jaffna.
Yes, we had the pleasure of working with Mr. Buell during the construction of Jaffna transmission station. In 1972, the fields, soil testing and field strength measurement, all the work, we have worked with him. So we are very happy to work with a dynamic person like Mr. Buell in the engineering field. Not only the engineering work, but also the workers' coordination and all that he obtained during the work.
Satya, can you tell about the initial days of Radalla FM repeater station?
Radalla FM repeater station is the first FM repeater station in Sri Lanka constructed by Mr. Buell, and he installed 10-watt translator to give the program from Colombo to Anuradhapura.
Mr. Padmasari, during your broadcasting years with Mr. Buell, have you come across any qualities that you really got from him?
Yeah. I recall a very personal incident. Once when he was sick, we visited him at his home, and after a moment of social conversation, he asked us whether we were on duty, so as to imply that if we were on duty, what we have done was not very appropriate. Truly we were not on duty. But this was some very special quality that I have seen in him. He was a person who dedicated himself to the broadcasting with no personal gains in view.
Well, that was a program we produced for Studio 6 commemorative series about Mr. Buell's, late Mr. Buell, and I had a deep appreciation of what he had done for us, so I thought I'll produce that film, and it was shown to you now a little while ago. However, the second part of the program was not recorded very well because the tape was old. Now I will give you that what is remaining for your recollection of memory. I am certain many of you are there. Thank you.
He made a substantial contribution to the development of broadcasting services in this country, and it is appropriate and fitting that he should be honored in this way. Returning to my subject, the development of communications has been spurred on from time to time by discoveries and inventions that have provided new technologies and services that we have come to take for granted, and without which there could not have been the tremendous progress made in global communications, and services that they gave birth. To open this, I would like to begin with a historical review. The early 19th century started to investigate the curious properties of electricity, was a servant discovered with the engineering problem of laying long lengths of cable on the seabed, as well as the fact that the cable itself had different properties. Was in the sea, it acted like a big capacitor, and all the electrical energy sent in at the input got lost and used. And finally it was several years later that the Atlantic and the USA. Now from that time onwards, large number of submarine cables were made, 36,000 nautical miles. The principal owners of the cables, for 50%, was of course British firms. At the time, as British and required a good communication system to administer their colonies, and that's what spurred them from playing this game. In 1876, it was also a simple device.